So whatever happened to the Disney Plus shows coming out on 4K and in Steelbook? Because that was really cool.
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and let's talk about the seemingly abandoned concept of Disney Plus shows on physical media, because for a while these were pumping out pretty great, and then they've dried up completely, and I want to talk about why that happened, while also providing a brief history of the 12 releases we did get. This was a really cool idea, and I hope they bring it back, and let's talk about maybe some missteps they made along the way that might have prevented them from returning. If you enjoy these types of videos, be sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss out on future Blu-ray videos. Also hit the hype button if it's available to you. But yes, let's talk about this. Like brief, broad strokes, they released 6 Marvel and 6 Star Wars Disney Plus TV show seasons onto physical media. And this is something that people have been asking for since Disney Plus launched because, as you would imagine, physical media collectors are wanting physical media. Physical media collectors will also subscribe to a streaming service to watch something for their favorite franchise, so these aren't mutually exclusive things. Just because I have The Mandalorian on Steelbook doesn't mean I canceled my Disney Plus subscription because, well, I gotta watch the next show, or the stuff that isn't on disc, which is an issue we'll talk about in a little bit. But I always want to say that any company that thinks that physical media is taking away from streaming numbers, I guarantee you it's not. A huge chunk of the physical media collector market is paying for streaming. And if they're not paying for streaming, they were never going to pay for streaming in the first place. You're only losing money by not putting stuff out on physical media. You only can gain money by putting out these shows on physical media. With how many millions of dollars these shows cost to produce, I think you probably made more money off of me buying this Mandalorian complete 3rd season Steelbook than you ever did for me paying for Disney Plus. So with that being said, let's go through the 3 waves of releases and talk about a timeline of history of events before we talk about why these suddenly stopped. So Wave 1 was Loki Season 1, Wandavision, and The Mandalorian Seasons 1 and 2. These were all released on 4K Steelbook and Blu-ray Steelbook, and if you're a Disney Movie Club member, you could get a Blu-ray Steelbook with a DVD copy. But those are the only formats released, but at general retail, it was just 4K and Blu-ray, all Steelbook, no standard editions. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But these were announced August 21st, 2023 to huge fanfare. They were released September 26th, 2023 for Loki, November 28th for Wanda, and December 12th for the 2 Mandalorian seasons. And all of these were chart toppers on the Blu-ray sales charts in the Blu-ray and 4K formats. They were a huge deal, and that was pretty exciting. So everybody also wondered what was next. Wave 2 contained The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Moon Knight Season 1, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Andor Season 1. These were announced March 5th, 2024 and released April 30th, 2024. Now, something to note at this time was that in February 2024, Disney signed a deal with Sony Pictures Home Entertainment to where Disney was going to close their physical media operations in-house and Sony would be handling their Blu-rays going forward. And that made a lot of people nervous for a lot of reasons, understandably so, and it even included the closure of the Disney Movie Club, which means options got more limited, and it was a little bit of a scary time because we were worried about what that would be. Sony Pictures Home Entertainment is one of the best home media divisions at a big studio, but what did it mean for going forward? Would there be as many releases? Would there be more, or would there be less? And sadly, it seems like it leaned more less. Also, these were all still released on 4K and Blu-ray. They were never a combo. You'd either buy the 4K Steelbook or the Blu-ray Steelbook. You couldn't get both in one edition, but that was the case for the first 2 waves. But then, because of that changeover, there was, we got these pretty quick. Like 3 months after The Mandalorian release, we got announcement of the next wave, and then these came out in April, and then Disney closed their home media division in May, and the first Sony release of a Disney property was The First Omen in July. And then it was still a few more months until the announcement of Wave 3. So Wave 3, containing Hawkeye the 1st season, Loki the 2nd season, Mandalorian the 3rd season, and Ahsoka the 1st season, was announced October 24th, 2024, and released December 3rd, 2024, only on 4K. There was no Blu-ray option. They were only 4K Steelbooks, and we have not seen any releases or announcements since. I am recording this video in February 2026, so you can understand I waited a while, and I feel like this line is dead. which is really sad because these are really good. So let's talk about the releases first. All these are excellent. You have every show is presented across 2 4K discs or 2 Blu-ray discs, depending on which format you get. They all come with concept art cards of each of them. They each have bonus features, which the Marvel ones include their making of specials that are on Disney+, so that's really cool. Plus they have new features like deleted scenes, gag reels, and extra bonus features. Like the Star Wars ones all have brand new bonus features that have never been seen before that are behind the scenes. These are full featured releases. The price point was a little high because they are Disney Steelbooks, which is definitely an issue. But I think overall they look and feel great. I do love the consistency. Like you can see the Mandalorian spines are all lined up with the numbers, though there is some inconsistency, right? Obi-Wan Kenobi was a miniseries, so it doesn't have a number, it just says the complete series. Andor and Ahsoka, of course, have season 2, so they left those. Wandavision was a miniseries. We never got a second season of Falcon and Winter Soldier, but never felt like they were going to. It felt like the second season was the Captain America movie, so I'm kind of wondering why that wasn't just complete series. Of course, Loki season 1 and 2. And then Hawkeye, same thing. We never got a second season, but they've talked about it for a while, so maybe that was planned. And Moon Knight season 2, never got another season of that. These two felt like they could have had a second season. This one was kind of odd. But the point being, on your shelf, especially next to your movies for Star Wars and Marvel, if you're a big Steelbook collector, these look absolutely perfect and they line up exactly. Also, the consistency in the cover artwork across the Disney Plus shows. These were good releases, and people were buying them for the first 2 waves. See, the issue number 1 that I think happened here is that by making the third batch of releases 4K only and not giving a Blu-ray option, alienated a bunch of people. There was a bunch of people that were only buying it on Blu-ray because they don't have the setup for 4K. And some people also don't want to pay the extra money for 4K. Having 4K only was a bit of an issue. They weren't combo packs either. Like if it was a 4K and Blu-ray combo pack, that'd be one thing, but they weren't. Just 4K. For me, who bought the 4K releases, that's fine. For other people, that made it so they didn't buy the third releases. And I checked the sales charts. The first 2 waves always dominate the sales charts. Third wave didn't. That would be the first issue. I think that's the first misstep made by Disney. Now, a thing that we know from insider information is that Disney's kind of calling the shots as to what titles can be released by Sony, with Sony having an option to say, hey, would you like to release this? And that has led to just a significantly less amount of releases from Disney and Fox, or 20th Century Studios, because we have constantly seen this throughout the time since Sony took over. It seems like the only things that get releases now are current movies and catalog titles that are either celebrating an anniversary or having a sequel come out in theaters. Like we got the Lilo and Stitch original movie on 4K when the remake came out. We got Tron and Tron Legacy when Tron Ares came out. That seems to be like all they do. You know, we got Rocky Horror Picture Show for its anniversary. It's been very limited. And the Disney Plus shows not getting more releases is a real bummer because a lot of these are important stories to their respective cinematic universes. Yes, we got all the Mandalorian out before the movie, but we never got Book of Boba Fett, which has arguably 2 Mandalorian episodes inside of it. And that kind of sucks. We never got Andor Season 2, which is the highest reviewed Star Wars thing probably ever. How about the fact that, you know, we have at least all of these are kind of complete sets as it stands, but there's other Marvel shows that have been well received and talked about that don't have any releases either. And yeah, like we don't have a Miss Marvel set to go with our WandaVision set to go with the Marvels, for example, to have a complete set there. So it's kind of an issue, right? So the other thing I think that was the big misstep with these as well is that they would put out the Steelbooks and that was it. Again, it's kind of like the Disney Vault mentality of like, oh, well, if they're going to pay for our thing instead of our streaming service, we need to make it so we make as much money as possible. And it's like, no, just give more options and people will give you money. If you give people options to give you money, they'll give you more money. Disney is kind of, as a company, has been shifting this way in their theme parks and their overall business of like, it seems like they just want to get a lot of money from a small amount of people instead of some money from everybody. And I think that's not the best method of business. If you want to make the most money, you want to make the most money from the most amount of people. And so I think, you know, put the Steelbooks out, but also have a standard edition available. And this is a discussion as well with current stuff. Like Zootopia 2 has a 4K Steelbook and then no standard 4K. Some people want the standard case. It's not even just a price value thing. Some people just want the standard case on the shelf as opposed to a Steelbook. If you give people options, they will absolutely buy them. And with Disney not even having to worry about the overhead because it's at Sony now, you think a bunch more stuff would be coming. Another misstep I think that was made is that we had absolutely no animated shows. The Clone Wars Season 7 is one of the most well-loved things from Star Wars, and yet no disc for it. We have the other 6 seasons, but no 7th season for Clone Wars. No Bad Batch. No Visions. No anything. No Tales of the Jedi. Nothing like that. For Marvel, their probably most successful show with fans was X-Men 97. Why did that not immediately come out on a Blu-ray? Why is there not an option for me to give them like 50, 60 bucks for an X-Men 97 4K? Why is that not? Why am I not given that choice, right? Why am I not given the option to buy Book of Boba Fett, even though it wasn't the best? Why am I not given the option to buy Secret Invasion to fill out my collection, even though I hated it? I don't know why they're not giving us the opportunity to give them money. And this even is an issue across the board with the Disney company. Like I said, we've been running this issue with Marvel Comics, and I was just talking about this with the Epic collection prices. Marvel Comics has basically ceased operations of reprints of comic collected editions. And reprints are a great way for people to get in. If people can only buy Volume 3 of a series, they're likely not to buy it. If you reprint 1 and 2, they're going to buy all 3. You've therefore made more money than just limiting yourself to, oh, well, we're going to reduce overhead by not producing too much of this. But no, you need these things to get people engaged. But it seems like the Disney company across the board at the moment wants to just be focused on just taking as much money as they can and getting as much money as they can from their core audience and not worry about anybody else, which is not good for long-term business. That's a very short-term mindset. But with Disney having a new CEO, as of time of recording that happened today, maybe some changes will happen. And I hope maybe this message can get out there that the fans that are going to buy the Disney Plus shows are not waiting to buy them on physical media. We've got our Disney Plus subscriptions. We've already watched them, but we will give you additional money to buy them on physical media. And that's kind of the whole point of this video, because we don't know why there hasn't been any Disney Plus shows on physical media in the last year. But I'm hoping they return, because there's stuff I would absolutely buy. And there's a lot of things that people would buy. But the things that need to be fixed up is as follows. First of all, you got to offer it on 4K and Blu-ray. You can't do this 4K only thing. It's not good. People want options. Also, put out standard releases. A lot of these Steelbooks are out of print. Put them back out again in standard, and you will make some more sales, because there are people that are going to buy the Steelbook and there are people that will buy the standard. There's not a lot of overlap, right? For me, I would buy the Steelbooks because they'll match the Steelbooks I've got, and I'll buy a standard if that's the only option, but I would rather buy a Steelbook if I can and the artwork is nice, which all the artwork on these has been nice. I will buy a Steelbook. Other people want just a standard. So give people options and they will show up. And then on top of that, just put out all the shows. Just give them a go. Put out some more popular stuff. How do I not have a Werewolf by Night set that has the black and white, the color, and the director's special? That doesn't cost anything on Disney. That just is the cost of production to release it. They don't have to include anything else that they don't want to. There's all kinds of stuff that people will definitely show up and purchase. And also, don't forget, there's a lot of us that are crazy and will buy the things we don't like just to fill out a collection. So Disney, if you're somehow listening, bring these back. This is a great business model. They don't need to be super close to when they come out on Disney Plus. Give them, a year or so to air on Disney Plus exclusively, then put them out on Blu-ray, and you will get a bunch of money. I guarantee it. So that's basically the topic of the video. These went away, and I wonder if the 4K only of Wave 3 was an impediment. I think the Sony deal was an impediment to getting more of these, but I hope they bring them back, because I don't see any reason why not to. This is just extra revenue for them with not that much overhead, and why would they not just want extra revenue? So if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss out. Leave comments down below. In case Disney's watching, in case Disney's looking, tell them you want more. Tell them what shows you want. Let us know in the comments. Like tell me what shows you want, and hopefully they see it too. I really want X-Men 97. I really want Werewolf by Night. I really want Andor Season 2. And I really want Clone Wars Season 7. You make that the next wave, and everybody's going to be on your side. So let's get this thing back rolling again. I see no reason for it not to. But on that note, if you want to continue the conversation, you can join our Discord server in the link below. You can also join as a channel member, get perks like early access to videos. Let's give some special shout-outs to some of our channel members. Special shout-out to all of our channel members, including Centeroth, Internet Nobody, Flavor Aid, Jaral Gutse 2, Nomo Toka, Dr. Carver, P. Shooter, the best plant ever, and Rose YT, Chris Davis, Robert Kirkpatrick, Renato, and Fernando Pereira. Thank you all for your support, channel members and viewers alike. If you so wish, I'm on social media on Blue Sky and Letterboxd at Soundout12. You can also find Wonderful Graphics Designer on social media and Discord at DarkClaw643. And you can find Hero Club at hero-club.com for entertainment, interviews, and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, let's hope there's more of these, because why did they ever go away in the first place?